You see, right now there are 9 bullish tailwinds for Bitcoin. And in this video, I'm going to go through each and every single one of them and break down why I think each one is a bullish tailwind. I wrote this in a tweet thread. I'm going to put the link to the tweet thread in the description of this video. If you want to go check it out, go check it out. And while you're doing that, please also subscribe to the channel, because the faster you subscribe, the faster they send these videos to the people that need to hear them the most. So 9 bullish tailwinds. Bullish tailwind number 1. The Fed interest rate hiking cycle is about to pause and change direction. We know this because the economy is slowing down. No matter what they tell you, the economy is slowing down. We're seeing evidence of that everywhere. Secondhand car prices, 50% of the CPI basket is now in straight out deflation. China's hitting deflation. There is so much evidence that the interest rate cycle, the hiking cycle, has done its job. It has done more than its job. We have violated a 40-year trend line on the interest rates, and we got to pay for that now. We've got to pay for that now. How will we pay for that? We'll pay for that by reducing interest rates, not increasing them. So that is, we're heading into a period where we're about to pause and change direction on that. Bullish number 2. Inflation is cooling faster than ever. We're seeing inflation cool faster than ever. There's a little bit of talk now about commodity prices rising and prices continue to go up. I completely disagree with that. I think inflation is done. I think this time it is slightly different to the 70s. We are not going to see a resurgence to the drastic effect that we saw in inflation back then. We may see it if they change policy and say we just need inflation because we need to inflate the dollar and inflate the debt away. That's a different scenario. But currently how things are going, we are transitioning from inflation to straight out deflation, and we'll see how that plays out. Bullish tailwind number 3. The Bitcoin ETF is coming now, as the has basically been punched in the face as hard as you can be punched in the face from the judges in the Grayscale lawsuit. They basically told them, if this doesn't turn into an ETF, nothing you've ever done makes sense in the Bitcoin space. That's basically how I read it. And as this ETF gets approved, it opens up $50 to $150 million a day of buying. 150 million a day of additional buying. Right now, based on Fundstrat's research, the equilibrium price on Bitcoin is being held there by 25 million a day of purchasing. And there is about to be 50 to 150 million a day of additional purchasing being unlocked because of this ETF. And that's absolutely bullish. So we also have bullish tailwind number 4, and that is that has changed the accounting rules to incentivize corporations to actually hold Bitcoin on their treasury. I did a video on this. Please go watch it. FASB has changed their rules so that Bitcoin can now be a mark-to-market asset on a quarterly basis rather than something like a patent, which needs to be written down if the value goes down but can't be written up if it's not sold. Bullish tailwind number 5. People right now are understanding Bitcoin versus traditional asset more than ever. You're seeing Bitcoin transition to a must-own asset in the consciousness of the investing class. You see every day they're talking about Bitcoin on CNBC. Every day they're talking about Bitcoin on Bloomberg. They're getting Bitcoin experts in. Everyone's talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is becoming the word of the day. And so everyone is talking about it. That's extremely bullish, because as the price starts moving, people start getting drawn to it because they already know about it, right? Bullish tailwind number 6. The titans of finance like Larry Fink, Jamie Dimon, etc. are aligning incentives for trillions of dollars of capital to be unlocked. And Larry Fink is now out there talking about Bitcoin and why Bitcoin could be a good asset when it comes to the comparison between different currencies, etc., etc. He's out on sea talking positive about it. You've got KPMG releasing reports about it. It is more than ever now a bullish tailwind for Bitcoin. Bullish tailwind number 7. Bitcoin and the Bitcoin mining world is now ESG friendly. Whether you believe in ESG, whether you don't believe in ESG, I don't give a shit. But $60 trillion will be locked in ESG assets by the end of 20, I believe. We want some of that. We want some of that. Even if you're anti-woke, you're anti-this, you're anti-that, you're pro this, you're pro that, I don't care. I want some of that $60 trillion. So if Bitcoin is ESG friendly, absolutely. And I made a prediction and I said that if now that BlackRock is bullish on Bitcoin, you're going to see a major news publication come out and say Bitcoin is ESG friendly. And what happened? Several weeks after that, KPMG released their report, but that's not the one I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for like the New York Times, a major publication like that coming out and saying that Bitcoin is now ESG friendly. That's what I'm waiting for. And I think it's going to happen. I put a time limit on 6 to 9 months after the Bitcoin ETF application by BlackRock, and KPMG happened within a few weeks. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think that's also going to happen. And once an asset is ESG friendly, all of these funds that have had their capital because of BlackRock's bullying put into ESG, they can now start allocating to Bitcoin and start generating return. If you look at any ESG ROI that's happened, it's not that good. It's 6% CAGR over the last 10 years. It's not that good. So they're going to say, oh, wow, you can have an ESG investment and start generating an 80% CAGR. Hell yeah, I want into that. So now that's another reason why they start piling into Bitcoin. Bullish tailwind number 8. Supply is dwindling on exchanges as the HODL rate increases for the first time during a bear market. We're seeing the HODL rate increase on this asset. You're seeing supply go down on the exchange on this asset. This is so important, right? This is the first time we've seen supply dwindle away during a bear market on this asset. It is going down. During this cycle, the supply on exchanges of Bitcoin has been going down. That will cause a supply constraint at some point, and that's absolutely bullish for Bitcoin. Bullish tailwind number 9. Pro-Bitcoin politicians are taking the main stages of so many countries around the world. It's whether you're talking about Argentina, whether you're talking about El Salvador, whether you're talking about the United States of America. Ted Cruz just came out and said he's bullish on Bitcoin. You've got RFK Jr. talking about Bitcoin. You got Vivek talking about Bitcoin. You got everyone talking about it. Bitcoin is the thing. They know that Bitcoin is an important technology for freedom, and they will support it. And the more they talk about it, the more important it gets. These are 9 bullish tailwinds for Bitcoin right now before the supply gets cut in half in April. Think about that. Before the supply gets cut in half in April. You've got billionaires talking about Bitcoin now. You got Michael Saylor out there. You've got Roberto Salinas in Mexico talking about Bitcoin. There is all of this Bitcoin consciousness coming out there. There's more media than ever out there. There is more and more people understanding what Bitcoin is, why it's important, the supply nature of it, why the scarcity and the finality of the supply is extremely important. These are all bullish tailwinds for Bitcoin before we get into the halving. So the question really becomes is how close are you getting to your 1 Bitcoin? Because this is not like property, right? I was talking with a friend yesterday and he said, like, I feel safe with houses because I can always buy a house. And I was like, that's the exact reason why Bitcoin is better, because you can't always buy 1 Bitcoin. 5 years ago, you can maybe buy 10 Bitcoin. Now you can only buy 1. In the future, you'll only be able to buy 0. It is more important than ever right now to get to your 1 Bitcoin. And despite any of these 9 bullish tailwinds, which I think you should go and click the link in the description and go read them, despite any of them, there are still only 3 rules to Bitcoin. You got to step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.